Day, Joshua Laycock. Another lifestyle evolution post. We're past day 50, which is pretty cool. I didn't know if I was going to last this long, but I'm having fun with this, and hopefully there's at least a few of you that are still watching and at the very least being entertained mildly by my videos, and hopefully maybe you even get something out of it. So it's been a fun adventure so far. I want to talk about something it's actually, this is something that has been bothering me, or that has bugged me for a very long time. And as usual, I think it's probably easiest to kind of set the stage with a story. So I'm pretty active on LinkedIn professionally. I enjoy chatting with people and trying to post things that add value. And there's been this thread that I'm not really sure how I looped myself into this thread, but it's been a really interesting conversation. And it's been dealing with some of the professional standards in my industry, and particularly some of the relaxed attitude that I think a lot of people are taking towards the professional standards in my industry. And it's pretty endemic. It's industry-wide, and I'm a pretty vocal opponent of it. No surprise, adhering to top quality, top level standards is a lot of work. And I think people are confusing that, the answer for why I can't do my job as effectively as I'm supposed to, or in some cases, as the law requires, is that it's too hard and too much work and I'm too busy. So that's, if you know me at all, you'll know there. Whoa, trigger. I like to get triggered when people complain about being busy or that work is hard. But that's not the point. There was a conversation about, I'm trying not to be too vague about it, but I also don't want to be too complicated. But essentially there's a practice in my industry that I think it's not common, but it's not completely uncommon. It happens from time to time. I think that it's lazy. I think that it's not in the best interest of our clients or of our industry. But that's where my criticism of this particular practice stops. And this thread on LinkedIn started to talk about this particular practice. And, myself included, I shared the opinions that I just shared with you, and a few people have sort of given it a bit of an eye roll and expressed their frustration. But some guy came in yesterday and just sort of said, well, whatever, that's completely illegal. It violates all the competition law. And all these people that do it are a bunch of jokers anyway. And that was it. And I looked at this person's profile, and I don't even think that they're in our industry, or certainly they're peripherally in our industry at best. And, I wrote back simply and said, can you cite the laws that you believe this practice violates? And I'm absolutely setting this person up, because when I'm never going to say I know for a fact, but I believe very strongly that this practice, while is not something that I certainly condone, is not illegal. And what this person has essentially done is called a significant number of the major participants, these are major global firms in my industry, called them out as being dishonest or conducting their business illegally, and then also called the individuals who work for this organization, who are relying on the guidance from their organization, called them a bunch of jokers. And I really struggle with this flippant approach to hucking grenades into rooms and walking away. I think there used to be a time where if you were going to speak ill of someone, or if you were going to lob an accusation, you had to stand behind your words, and you had to not only have the capacity, but the courage and the conviction to back them up. And if you didn't, there used to be consequences. Like, you call some guy a schmuck, you duel. And I'm not suggesting that we go back to the days of shooting each other over, offending one another. That's not what I'm getting at. But there used to be a point where you were held accountable to the things that you said, and the accusations that you lobbed out there. And now I think, especially with the sort of anonymity or the arm's length nature of social media and the internet, people are comfortable with lobbing these pretty significant accusations without any support, without any attempt to back up their facts, and quite frankly to slander some people. And I have a real issue with that. You know, I remember when I was in university, I don't remember the specifics of it, it was a long time ago, but there was a period in our country's politics where these votes of no confidence were being held against our prime minister, what felt like on a weekly basis. Like, I get it, people were frustrated, but we're going to hold another vote of no confidence. I don't agree with you. And that's a pretty significant process. And they were happening and getting defeated regularly, and it was just bogging the process down. I remember I was writing for my university's newspaper, and I wrote a piece similar to what I'm talking about now, saying, you know what? There has to be some consequences to these types of accusations, to these types of allegations. And, you know, in that case, I said, I'd like to see a situation where if you want to throw down a vote of no confidence, if you win, great. But if you lose, you have to resign. There has to be consequences to the things that you do or you say. And in this particular situation, in a professional environment where we try to keep it clean, I did take exception to this individual who essentially said all of these companies are operating illegally and that anyone who does it are a bunch of jokers. And we need to get back to a point where we start to recognize, one, that our words can leave a wake, that we have the capacity, for better or for worse, for influencing other people, and for the repercussions that our words say. We should be prepared to be held accountable for those things. And I think that we've lost that. I think the world is too easy to, as I said, grab a grenade, throw it in a room and walk away, be damned, whatever the carnage I've just left there is. And I think if we're going to step up as individuals and if we're going to evolve, we need to get back, ironically enough, to a place where we recognize that our words have real meaning and that our words have consequences and that we should be held accountable for our words. I'm not advocating getting into a battle with every troll on the internet. That's a wasted energy. But in a situation where the discourse really should be higher, where there are personal attacks that could have an impact on people's careers and their livelihoods, I do think that I would like to see a return to people holding those people accountable and saying it is unacceptable for you to say these things without even trying to support your argument, without even having proof, without backing yourself up. I think that the world would be probably a lot better. It would certainly be a lot less casual and random if we started to recognize that our words have weight, that the words we use matter, and that we should be aware of the repercussions of lobbing grenades into rooms and walking away. And like I said, I try to not engage in confrontational or challenging conversations in LinkedIn because it's a work environment. But that one really bugged me, and I see it a lot. And that's something that I think we all could do to work on is make sure, first of all, if you're going to lob an accusation, if you have something negative to say, and I've said this before, really we should be asking ourselves, is this something that even needs to be said, right? Do I really need to add some negativity to this conversation? But if you do feel compelled, you sure as hell better be ready to back it up. You sure as hell better know rather than think that something is true. You should be prepared to cite things. If you're going to call something illegal, back it up with words. You know, if you're going to call something an egregious foul, walk me through why you think that and why you think you're justified. And if you're going to call someone a joker, you'd sure as hell better understand the circumstances around which you're doing that and what the implications of those things might be. So, you know, it's something that's really bothered me. And I have a feeling that if I were born a few hundred years earlier, I would absolutely be the kind of guy that says, all right, schmuck, I take offense to that. Pistols at dawn. I hope you don't have anyone slap you across the face with a glove and challenge you to pistols at dawn. But if you do, you better be quick and you better be ready to back yourself up. Have a good day. I'll catch you guys later.